New developments today in the fight against COVID.
The president is urging Congress to provide more money to fight the virus before funding runs out.
Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House, where the president rolled up his sleeves this afternoon.
As reporters peppered him with questions, President Biden received his second COVID-19 booster shot at the White House Wednesday, a day after the FDA approved it for people 50 and older. Earlier, the president announced the launch of his administration's new COVID website.
No longer will Americans have to scour the internet to find vaccines, treatments, tests, or masks. It's all there.
The website, covid.gov, is an online resource for COVID-related information. It features a new test-to-treat locator tool to help people find the more than 2,000 locations that offer COVID-19 tests and antiviral pills.
These are pharmacies and other places in your neighborhood where you can get tested, and if you're positive, you can get life-saving treatments all in one stop.
It comes as the CDC says the 7-day average of new COVID hospitalizations nationwide is at its lowest level since the agency started keeping track.
But the White House says it needs more money to stay ahead of the virus and any new variants that might affect the U.S. The president is urging Congress to provide $22 billion in emergency funding.
If Congress fails to act, we won't have the supply we need this fall to ensure the shots are available free, easily accessible for all Americans.
During a virtual hearing on Capitol Hill, Republicans expressed skepticism about the Biden administration's COVID response.
We've seen flip-flopping, we've seen mistakes, we've seen power grabbing, and we've seen political interference with the science.
Also Wednesday, the CDC officially removed any COVID-related travel warnings for cruises. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
And coming up later in this newscast, what Ivy Tech is doing right now to get kids up to date on all of their vaccinations and how you can take part. Well, now to the weather.
And just how bumpy things may get tonight. Storm Team 18 Chief Meteorologist Chad Evans tells us what's happening right now. Hey, Chad.
Yeah, we've got tornado watchers from southern Indiana all the way down to the Gulf Coast. You can see all the warnings in this line of storms as well. The line is racing northeastward. And again, out ahead of it, we just have plain rain and thunder and just gusty winds, at times 40 to 50 miles an hour. Then there's the line right there. You can see that on radar coming up from the southwest. So initially it's rain out in front of it this evening and very gusty winds. And then we watch the line racing northeastward, which is right here. And that's the line that could bring a few severe gusts and perhaps a very brief, weak little spin up of an EF0 tornado this evening. You see, it's likely going to be in Warren and Fountain counties here in about an hour, hour and a half, more like an hour and a half to 2 hours in Lafayette, and more like 3 hours towards Flora, Logansport, and eventually the Peru area. So for this evening, the line comes in, rain, the line of storms, very strong winds from the south, then they turn to the southwest late, and temperatures falling downward. We dropped to 42 by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning and still windy overnight, but keep in mind the main time period for any sort of isolated or scattered severe gusts would be 6 to 11 o'clock. Again, a very brief little spin up of a weak tornado can't be ruled out in that line as it races through the area. Big changes tomorrow and even snow showers tomorrow night after 70s today. We'll show you that next.
All right, Chad, thank you. Shelling continues in parts of Ukraine today, despite Russia's claims that it would pull back its military. And now U.S. intelligence warns Russian President Vladimir Putin may feel misled by his own military commanders.
It comes as the U.S. has promised to send $500 million in aid directly to Ukraine's government. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill.
A U.S. official tells CBS News there's tension between Russian President Vladimir Putin and his military leaders, and that Putin may be misinformed about the poor performance of Russia's military and the economy.
One of the Achilles heels of autocracies is that you don't have people in those systems who speak truth to power or who have the ability to speak truth to power. And I think that is something that we're seeing in Russia.
Ukrainian officials say airstrikes continue in the northern city of Chernihiv and near the capital, Kyiv, just a day after Russia claimed it would drastically reduce military operations in those two regions.
Our best assessment is less than 20% over the last 24 hours now we've seen to start to reposition.
In a nearly hour-long phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky Wednesday, President Biden discussed security assistance and pledged to provide $500 million directly to the Ukrainian government. Here on Capitol Hill, a top U.S. military commander told a House panel that Russia's war in Ukraine could lead to a change in posture for troops in Europe.
This is an opportunity as a result of this senseless act on behalf of Russia to re-examine the permanent military architecture that exists not only in Eastern Europe, but in our air policing activity in aviation and in our standing naval maritime groups.
Earlier, a group of lawmakers met with members of Ukraine's parliament.
They are courageous, they are resilient, and the United States stands with them.
The United Nations now says 4 million people have fled Ukraine since Russia's invasion began, creating a massive refugee crisis. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
An ex-Lafayette police officer fired for his role in a neo-Nazi chat forum is now linked in federal court documents to a far-right domestic terrorism plot. In October 2020, LPD fired Joseph Zaharik for his role in a neo-Nazi chat forum. At the same time, members of a far-right terrorism group were hit with federal weapons charges and later accused of plotting to take down the power grid in Idaho. Court documents filed last year and recently brought to light show Zaharik was a member of the group while serving as an LPD officer. We'll have much more on this story, including expert reaction, coming up on News 18 at 6. In a truly awful story out of Indianapolis, a brother and sister shot on the east side of Indianapolis. Witnesses say the shooting along a sidewalk appears to be domestic related. And what makes matters worse, several kids were just a few feet away when shots were fired. We're told the man who was shot is now fighting for his life, and his sister should be okay.
We're really lucky we don't have a child that was killed out of this. It looks like there was 2 small children in the vehicle when this occurred.
Arrests have been made yet. Despite the violence, as of last week, Indianapolis police reports the number of non-fatal shooting victims this year is down significantly compared to last year.
Well, happening now at the West Lafayette Wellness Center, parks leaders seek community input on plans for Happy Hollow Park. News 18's Perry Apostolakos is live at that event right now, and Perry joins us. Perry, when's that event going to wrap up?
Hey there, Jeff and Sam. The event here wraps up around 7 p.m., but until then, you can come on down to the West Lafayette Wellness Center, and there are people here who can help bring your vision for Happy Hollow Park to life, much like this, an illustration that somebody gave the idea for a walkway along the creek. How beautiful is that? This is actually the first planning session of its kind for this upcoming 5-year plan from the West Lafayette Parks Department. This event is a joint effort between the Parks Department, Anthropology at Purdue, and Purdue Horticulture. The community input gathered here from the event will be part of the West Lafayette Parks 5-year master plan. Some people who have come to the event expressed interest in more river access and less space taken up for parking. The recently added dog park is also a topic of discussion since it often becomes muddy. One resident suggested moving the dog park from the base of the hill where it currently is. Bryce Patz, Community Forestry and Green Space Manager for West Lafayette Parks, says long-term solutions for erosion are also a priority.
We'll have to secure banks. There might be areas that we need to address the channeling of the water, and definitely vegetation planting, getting some native restoration work in there.
Coming up on News 18 at 6, hear more input from residents. Pat says there will be another event like this one in the fall. Reporting in West Lafayette, Perry Apostolakos, News 18.
Thank you so much, Perry. You still have time to register for a great event that raises money to fight cancer. The 14th annual Challenge 5K is scheduled for Saturday, April 9th. It's hosted by the Purdue Center for Cancer Research and will take place at a pretty cool site, Ross-Ade Stadium. This race attracts runners and walkers from all over the community and state, and the money raised makes a difference in people's lives.
So we've had a fantastic history of supporting outstanding research over the years, and in last year we supported some prostate cancer research and are really pushing to develop even more therapeutics. We just had a prostate cancer therapeutic approved by the FDA, and we're trying to generate more.
All of the money goes toward cancer research at Purdue. To learn more about the Challenge 5K and to register, head to our website, WLFI.com. Tippecanoe County is seeing an increase in children not receiving all of their standard vaccinations.
Ivy Tech is hosting a shot clinic in hopes of bringing those rising numbers back down. News 18's Cameron DeBlasio has the story.
More than a quarter of school-aged kids in Tippecanoe County are behind on standard immunizations. Ivy Tech Dean of Nursing Sandy Feitz says COVID-19 is a big reason why.
As a part of the pandemic, well child visits, healthy check, well baby checks, those kinds of things really slowed down.
Now, Ivy Tech is hosting a Back on Track clinic to help children catch up. Tippecanoe County Health Officer Dr. Jeremy Adler says the problem is also part of a long-term challenge in addition to the pandemic.
There are children and teenagers who unfortunately don't have pediatricians or family physicians. And so some of the routine preventive care goes by the wayside.
Feitz says that preventive care now must be brought back to the forefront for the safety of everyone.
When we get an outbreak of pertussis or something like that, it doesn't infect just or impact just the child. It will impact the rest of that family that they go back to.
Adler hopes people take advantage of the clinic to protect their children, especially the 40% of high school seniors behind on shots.
We want to make sure that they are as protected as possible as they expand their social circles and their professional circles.
Feitz also encourages parents to attend, even if they don't know their child's vaccination status.
We will have registered nurses, other healthcare professionals that will be here who can talk to you about where your child stands in terms of those. They'll be able to look up your child in the system. They'll be able to have a conversation about what might be needed.
Adler says it's critical for children to be vaccinated against measles, mumps, and all the viruses these shots work against.
We really don't want to miss that opportunity to prevent illnesses that are preventable.
Again, that was News 18's Cameron DeBlasio reporting. If you have a child who needs any immunizations, the clinic runs until 7 p.m. tonight at the Ivy Tech Lafayette campus. Registration is available online, but is not required to attend. Coming up, two big developments in the Will Smith scandal, an emergency meeting happening tonight in Hollywood, and what Jada Pinkett Smith, his wife, is saying now.
You're watching News 18 at 5. News from where you live.
Welcome back. Tonight, the Academy Awards full board of governors will reportedly meet to debate actions against the actor Will Smith.
Board member Whoopi Goldberg was adamant that Smith's actions would not go unpunished. Goldberg said, quote, there are big consequences surrounding Smith. Rather than expelling him permanently and allowing him to keep his Oscar would keep the Academy from having to address offenses from previous winners.
There are people that are calling for his Oscar to be revoked. That is highly unlikely to happen. He's more likely to be suspended.
Is expelled, he would join the ranks of Harvey Weinstein, and Roman Polanski, who were removed from the Academy but kept their Oscars. Jada Pinkett Smith, the target of the joke Rock made that angered Will Smith, posted on Instagram, quote, this is a season for healing and I'm here for it.
And now, your Storm Team 18 forecast. Weather from where you live.
It's been a very windy day. We've had gusts as high as 46 miles an hour in the viewing area. The winds have backed off a little bit in our northeastern counties for the time being, but still sustained 20 to 30 in our southern counties with gusts of 35 right now. And the winds still very gusty through the evening, gusts 35 to 50 at times, with a little more rain coming in from the southwest after highs in the 70s over a good chunk of the viewing area today. And out ahead of the line of storms, this massive rain will come through with a little thunder this evening. But there it is right there in southern Illinois. You see the warnings down here. This is a tornado watch for southwest Indiana. And even though we may not end up with a watch issued, we still got this line to get through with a few severe gusts and perhaps a brief little EF0 weak tornado spin up. So all that said, you can see the times of arrival specifically for our viewing area. It's likely going to be a little less than an hour and a half before it gets to around Warren and Fountain counties. Lafayette, you're looking more like more than a couple of hours before it gets in here. And then once you get up towards Flora and Logansport, more like 3 hours before it comes in. So I think a good ballpark figure here, just playing on 6 to 11, the risk of some severe gusts from the rain and then the line of storms. So that said, temperatures falling from 68 to 54 between 7 and 11 p.m. Then overnight, still gusty out there. Still winds gusting 35 to 50 at times. Winds turning to the west-southwest. And any showers and a few thunderstorms will just taper to a couple light showers around later on tonight as we drop to a low of 42. So we are in the marginal risk for severe on a scale of 0 to 5. It's a 1, which is isolated severe storms. We're kind of right on the cusp between marginal and slight, kind of right on the edge of a 1 and a 2 here. You see right here. That's the severe weather risk zone. So think of green's isolated, more scattered severe in yellow. Main threat would be wind and a brief EF0 spin up of a tornado. So let's track it. Here we are, 6:30. There's your rain, a little thunder. There's the line crossing I-57. Here it is racing to the northeast around the state line by 7:30. And there it is coming right through the viewing area with time as we get between 6 and 11 o'clock this evening. And then it races to the northeast. Showers and a little thunder for a while tonight, then a few light showers late. Watch tomorrow, though. A lot of clouds around, falling temperatures, few scattered showers become scattered showers, and then eventually snow showers tomorrow night. There could be a few localized pockets that get a little very minor grassy accumulation. And I think rainfall-wise, I really think it's going to be a 3/4 to an 1.5 inch rainfall event, just to make it muddy yet once again. So tomorrow, wind chills 30s and then dropping into the 20s with a strong west-southwest to west wind blowing. Gusts up to 42 miles an hour, 42 in the morning, and then we drop to 36 by 5 p.m. 39 to 45 will do it for highs, then falling. Going to have a new blog post here literally in a half an hour. You want to check that out on your Storm Team 18 weather app and at WLFI.com. So 42 then falling tomorrow. Not so bad Friday, a little cool, 48. 48, some scattered showers, a little grapple on Saturday. 52 on Sunday with nothing more than an isolated shower, and then rain comes in Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs fairly seasonable next week in the upper 50s.